let's talk about the session that I did in Europe. First of all, it's I allocated them in the groups. In this spreadsheet, you can check group 1 and half of the 2, 2 and half of the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but I can explain it in the end. So, the main objectives of the session were to talk about supply and demand, brain advocacy strategies, and team management was not in the session because we had a workshop after the session. Two, one for front office, another for back office management, right? So I started the session showing them a few numbers, GV, GT, GE, number of entities, number of LCs, results, dropping, growing, and if they're growing or dropping last term, versus global. So just to show that there are a few things that are like European problems. So for example, growing OGV is possible. But if you can see, most part of the products in realizations are dropping compared to the previous term. And then I showed them the global ranking. And then the question that they asked me a lot is like, why are we dropping? And then I put a few reasons why we're dropping GV, GT, GE. I took this from the product bootcamp output. It's a material that I use a lot, so you can check there. All the explanations are there, so you can check it. And then I said, okay, before we start, it's November. How can we make operations more interesting? And then I was like, let's have your inner coach here. So welcome to the Europe Operations League. You can use I don't know which championship is famous in the region, but you can use it. You are the coach of your team and you are in the middle of the championship. What do you need to succeed? And then I put like understand the groups and standings of the championship with supply and demand, have your supporters and brand advocacy, have your team performing. It's team management, right? Then I put like supply and demand for Europe. Then I showed them numbers, especially in GT supply and demand within the regions dropping. There's like applications in dropping GE, so numbers. And then when it comes to old school supply and demand, we have like traditional country partners and their strategies based on what happened. And then when you have a scenario that has like 20% of the entries delivering 80% of the results, if you just keep having the same supply and demand strategies, you will keep like giving to these entries more results, which is something that has to happen, but we have to create new possibilities in order to see something happen, right? And then the rules of the championship that we have right now are the roadmap and the targets, and we can use this to evolve the way that we see supply and demand to create new possibilities. And then for them to understand the logic that I created, and then for you to also understand it, I used an MCP as example, and he's a very famous MCP in Europe, so you can choose an MCP that is famous in your region and use this person as example. So I took their results in the 16-17 term, so they did these numbers, and I took a lot of pictures from him to use as memory, right? And then to calculate his goal for the term, he should take the targets into consideration, right? So they have what they achieved and the targets. And then if you project the targets, you have, it's not necessarily the goal that they have for the MC. Normally the goal that they have for the MC is bigger than this, but they have what they should deliver in order to contribute to the global targets, right? Again, most part of the MCPs say, but my goal is bigger than this. I don't care because of what Isaac needs, it's people delivering what they should deliver, which means targets. And in the end, like even if they're planning to do more, a plan in a piece of paper doesn't mean results, right? So what I'm taking into consideration is the number that they have to deliver in order for us to achieve the global targets. And then, okay, if we have the 16-17 realization goals according to the targets, we can like see what are the number of exchanges that they have to do more than the previous term, right? Because the logic behind it's like if we keep having the same strategies as we had in the previous term, we can achieve the same numbers. But what can we do that is different to achieve this growth? Which means what are the strategies in place for this term that can bring this growth to an entity? Maybe they can say, it's not a lot, no. Fine, it's a starting point. And then I put like, how do I do it? And then Gilby asked himself, what are the entities that have similar growth goals and I can work with? And then he met Zé, that is a MCP from Portugal, because IGV growth goal in Finland is quite the same as OGV growth goal in Portugal, which means, and they are not working together at all, which means that these are a great opportunity, right? And now I made fun of him. And then this is the logic that is in this spreadsheet right now. So how did I create it? First of all, I took 16, 17 results, and I projected the global targets. Then I have 17, 18 realized goals. Again, not necessarily the same as the MC is planning to achieve. But again, I don't care because I need a numbers reference that is like feasible, because most part of the entities, they don't know how to plan. Yes, you can take into consideration their goals if they want, but as a starting point, I suggest you to look to it. And then first, I group them in total amount of realizations that they want to deliver. So literally more than 3K, between 2.9 and 2, like here, 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 here. So 7 groups. That are the final amount of realizations. And then I also group them into products, but when it comes to growth, so for example, group A in IGV are entities that want to grow more than 365, which means that they need strategies in place that allow them to repeat what they did in the previous term plus grow almost 400, right? And then you have like 5 growth groups for GV, 3 for GT, 4 for GE. And then what I did is like I printed the spreadsheet that I sent, and I gave them time to allocate themselves in like not to allocate, sorry, but to create groups and to create partnerships that could make sense. So when it comes to like, let me show you. For example, if I'm Turkey, I have a growth goal A in IGV, which means I want to grow more than 300 something, right? What are the entities that I can work with to provide me the supply? Okay, I can work with Group B entities because the Group A, but Europe doesn't have Group A in OGV. I can work with Group B because they also have a great goal. I can work with Group C. I can work with everybody, right? So my suggestion for Turkey was like, choose 3 entities that you are not working with and start to talk about it. So they chose France, they chose Italy, and they chose I don't remember the last one, but it's fine. And but the magic of this logic, it's like when it comes to Group A working with each other, it's something that is out there, it's happening. But what you have to push them to do, it's like Group C working with Group C, because as I show example between like Finland and Portugal, they have the same growth goal when it comes to GV. If they start to work with each other, if they start to sell each other's country, they can bring this 50 people, like Portugal can bring these 50 people to Finland, and then can grow, they can achieve something in their term that's different than everything that they have been doing before. So my suggestions with this logic is like you can create partnerships within small and medium entities. You don't have to depend just in big entities to make it happen. So this is something that you have to push. And when it comes to big entities, I also printed all the spreadsheet because they can start to look out of the region. But I just suggest this to happen if your growth goal is A. If it's not A, you can stay within the region. It's fine. And then I gave them time and I gave them like a few examples. I recommend you to have these examples. And the only thing that blocks this partnership to happen, it's visa issues, right? Besides this, to be honest, when I was in the session, I had an MCP raising her hand and say like, but I don't want to work with Turkey because my customer doesn't want to go to Turkey. And this was a small fight during the session because it's an MCP perspective. And one thing that I realized is like most part of the mindsets come from the MCPs, which is very, very, very bad. So my suggestion to avoid this comment, it's like besides the two things that I told you, it's like IXP and leadership are the two best strategies to start a corporation that doesn't exist yet. So this thing about my customer doesn't want to grow to the country doesn't exist, to be honest. And I use it a lot, the Brasilomba example or the Max Lomba example, because I didn't have people in Brazil that was like, I really want to go to Colombia. Colombia is my like top one like destination to go. It happened because MCPs were working very well together, and they literally created the partnership 5 years ago, and now we have a big partnership. Um, just because someone started like sending EPs to sending members to the country, then supporting financially, which can happen, but it's not the main thing. The main thing, if you want to create a partnership from scratch, in my perspective, it's like I experience leadership. Send someone to the entity to work from there. Send people to the entity. This is one thing that we align between France and Turkey. The MCP himself is going to Turkey to start the partnership, right? Yeah, so this was the first part of the session. That, to be honest, took me 1 hour and a half because they got so excited that they were like, "Oh my God, I've never thought about like work with this and that entity." And in my perspective, I cannot manage all the combinations that they came up, right? So I chose three: Portugal and Finland, Turkey and France, Turkey and Italy, as I said. So it was the first part. The second one, it's the support, like do a supporting team, and then I thought, why did you decide to support the team? And then how do the teams promote themselves? They promote based on the matches that they will play, championships they want to win, training sessions, play routine. As you can see from Real Madrid, a training session, Barcelona training session, and here is one when they got like selected to go to the national team. Right, it's kind of going to the MC. Another training session. Um, and then I started to compare how many people have country and project brand strategies in place, which means like most part of the countries they are promoting the country, they are not promoting the project, which is very wrong. It can happen together, but most part of of the entities in Europe they're promoting the country. And then I showed them a few examples on how to promote the projects. Then I asked them how you're promoting your entry, don't promote your idea, promote your results. I showed them some numbers about brand advocacy, and mostly what I gave them time is to think about how to create engagement strategies when it comes to customer, promoting the projects and not the country because Europe is very bad on it. Yes, and then I showed them like after the session we have front office management and back office management, and this was it. In the end of the session, I gave them a few time to still like catch up in conversations about supply and demand itself. My concern about having the session in the end of November is that first to create new partnerships, we need time. We need at least like 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks to make something happen. And if you want to create partnerships from scratch, you cannot expect to have a lot of numbers in the first peak together. It won't happen. Just if I don't know something magic happens and you manage to find like 100, 200 people that want to go to that country. But besides, this is it's a strategy that requires time. So please, please, please take care to don't kill this strategy just because of the sense of urgency, because a few countries are not like delivering what they should deliver. Like I heard like MOC is dropping, so we need strategies to solve their problem. And it's not like this. Like you won't find here a solution, especially because I've been talking to Nathan, and that they are thinking about strategy of supply and demand since the beginning of the term, just because they're not doing it. So yes, it is it is how do I say, a solution, but again, it's not a short term. So like, be careful to how to use this. Otherwise, they'll say like, I tried to work with an entity that I didn't work before, but it didn't work, so the logic doesn't work, which is not true because maybe you are late. But that's it. My suggestion for the session, if you want to facilitate it, is like change this Gilby for another MCP with another goal here. But you can use the same layout and change the theme. Like it doesn't have to be football, it can be another theme. Okay, if you have any doubts, just tell me. You can play with the spreadsheet that I sent you. I recommend to download, but if you have internet in the venue, you can like send them the link. It says like supply and demand Europe, but I can change it because it's not supply and demand Europe, supply and demand in general. And that's it. Have fun because it's very nice to play with this logic. And if you have any question, just tell me. Okay, bye.